What a centenary season this could be for Swansea City. Swansea have gone from being a town to a city since their last appearance in the semi-final of one of English football's major cup competitions. 1964 was the year they lost to Preston in the last four of the FA Cup. It was also the year in which their manager Michael Laudrup was born. But a quarter of the way through this semi-final tie against Chelsea, pointing in the direction of an historic achievement in getting to the final of the League Cup.
Well, you have to say, I mean, an awful lot can happen in this two-legged tie, but you have to say it's been an inspired choice by the Swansea board to appoint Michael Laudrup. He was out of work for nearly a year, but they saw something in him, and they were proved right.
Well, they've done well with their appointing of managers right from the time when Kenny Jackett started the revolution. Chelsea looking for an equaliser, offside here though against Fernando Torres.
I think Ben Davies, the left back, was the furthest back off the line, but it wasn't enough even to keep Torres on. I don't think Swansea's attitude is going to change an awful lot in the second half. They're going to try and defend what they've got now.
Well, 6 years ago, Swansea were in League One alongside Bradford City. It's only 8 years ago that Swansea themselves were a League Two team. Here's Azpilicueta. Now Gary Cahill. Ivanovic, whose poor touch ended up costing Chelsea the goal they've conceded here to Michu. Torres, control for Ashley Cole. Torres. And Chico Flores got in tight to him then, pays the price with a yellow card.
But he does tend to commit himself, Chico. It was good feet from Torres to just skate around the centre half. I knew what he was doing now, I think.
Second Spaniard booked after Hernandez in the first half.
Well, it's wide, but maybe a shot on goal. David Luiz this time deciding he might want a piece of this. He's got a great technique from these free kicks. Able to keep a flat flight of ball quite often.
Scored 2 goals in the last 3 here, 1 a penalty, 1 a free kick. Despite the angle, he seems to fancy this. Luiz!
The contact's got to be absolutely perfect for that ball to stay on a flat line. A bit like the way Didier Drogba used to take them, with a side foot.
A bit like the one that he dipped so effectively here against Villa. Here's Torres. There's going to be another night of frustration for Fernando Torres.
Well, they have got a replacement now, of course, if it should pan out that way, Demba Ba.
You wonder if Rafa Benitez, thinking in preferring Torres tonight, is to keep Bar's powder dry for a match against Stoke at the weekend. Bar, who didn't join Stoke because of their concerns over his knee, or supposed knee problem, and has haunted them since. Here's Cole. Now Luiz.
It's really important when you're playing against a team like this, when Swansea are just content to sit there and get men behind the ball. You've got to keep the tempo up, keep that ball moving across the pitch, 1-2 touch.
Here's Ashley Cole. Tremble has been an effective last line of defence when called upon. Williams in front of him has got through quite an amount of work to cut off the danger at source. Britton. De Guzman trying to leave it behind for Pablo Hernandez. Broken up though by David Luiz, who looks for Oscar, who lets it run. Azpilicueta came back off key.
It's a poor ball in from Azpilicueta. Plenty of time.
Here's Azpilicueta. Chico Flores. Now Luiz. Hazard. Looking for goal. And a deflection on its way through. Cannot matter.
Again, Chelsea having a lot of the ball, but Swansea won't be too disappointed with the way they've started this second half. Nice and compact again. Credit for keeping Tremble in. He's picked his strongest side really, outfield, but Tremble's played right through this competition and we saw no need to change it.
Chelsea 4 times winners of the League Cup, and they beat Swansea 3-2 here en route to their first win. Victory for Tommy Docherty's side in the 4th round, which before this season was as far as Swansea had ever gone in the League Cup. Mata. Moved on by Azar. Luiz looking for the instant return. And Swansea had enough bodies back to cope. Here's Ramirez. Now Ivanovic. Knocked out of his stride first by De Guzman. He looks to spread it now to Wayne Routledge. Cross home towards Michu, goes for the spectacular.
I'll say that again. But the form he's been in this season, you would have been surprised to see him get it on target, because just simply hitting the target is really difficult with this kind of technique from that kind of angle. But it has been that kind of season for him.
The worry for Swansea must be that he's continuing to make headlines in this month of all months when the transfer window's open. Here's Luiz. Cahill. Azpilicueta. Luiz. Mata. Now Ivanovic. Again headed clear by Ashley Williams, who's done a lot of that tonight for Swansea. Rangel. Hernandez looking for De Guzman. Hazard. Now Luiz. Here's Ivanovic. Luiz being held up literally by De Guzman.
such an impressive player, David Luiz, in the middle of the park. Love to watch him. He's had another good game out here tonight. Saw him up at Everton, and that was a real test for him, but he met that challenge. This is nearly 40 yards out.
More central for him though this time. Tremble beware with the past form of David Luiz, even at this kind of range.
Look, the full 10 yards that wall, but the ref presumably has made sure it is.
Luiz! Oh, he got it through the wall, but not on target.
A much better connection this time. He did keep it flat, even though he's a long way out. It's not the best of walls, turning the back. The Guzman in there, I think it was, but it was a yard wide.
There's Oscar. Luiz warned of the arrival of Michu, but Spaniards still managed to nick it away from him. Mata. Here's Oscar. Now Torres. The ball in early, cleared by Chico, but straight to Oscar. Struck into the face of Leon Britton. Now Torres.
We've got four in there to aim at, just a little too close to the keeper.
Here's Cole. Now David Luiz. Ramirez. Hazard. Mata. Hazard. Luiz! Thumping drive from him, but Tremble equal to it.
Well, it was just fortunate for Tremble that it did come on his side. Otherwise, he'd have been beaten. Even so, really good stop, and the fact he managed to cling on to it was important too. Another chance goes begging for Chelsea. Another good chance.
Here's Ivanovic. Hazard. Luiz. Cleared again by Williams.
Well, you could argue that they haven't been as clinical as they might have been, Chelsea, with their attempts. Just the 4 out of 15 on target for them.
Here's Cahill. Swansea keeping a high line. Oscar forced look back to Ramirez. And he's lost out to Key. And Michu has to try and time his run.
Oh, space behind there for Michu.
Key.
I thought it would continue in a similar pattern. If anything, Chelsea have seen more and more the ball than they did first half. Swansea standing strong.
No let up in this Chelsea domination, but it's not changing. the outlook as far as they're concerned here. Michael Laudrup's side keeping their discipline here, and when the backline is breached, Tremel more than up to the task at the moment.
And a little glance at his substitutes warming up. Maybe not quite at that time yet, but I think it will come. Make sure he keeps his team fresh.
Here's Juan Mata.
You need a lot of energy to defend the way that they are. There's a lot of chasing involved. Concentration too.
Azpilicueta links up well with David Luiz. Can't work it across. Chelsea win the corner.
They get themselves a corner, but it could have been so much more threatening this for Chelsea. Could have managed to get a ball.
Goalkeeper got a hand to that, and he needed to. Ivanovic's eyes were just lighting up at the possibility then of atoning for his earlier mistake. He stayed forward, has Ivanovic, but that ball from Ramirez beyond him. And unfortunately we have an incident here where an unwanted intruder has stepped onto the pitch for reasons best known only to himself.
So he won't be unhappy with the part that he's played. Gerhard Tremel, some really good stops. Well, the substitute is coming.
Looks like Tiendali, the fullback who has been playing ahead of Angel Rangel sometimes in recent matches, is the player that Michael Laudrup has decided to send on here. And it's Wayne Routledge who is going to be taken off. Routledge, who had a fairly nomadic football career early on, but seems really settled at Swansea now. Making way for Tiendali, who was brought in originally because of the injury problem for Neil Taylor, but couldn't force his way in at left-back, where Ben Davies has been so consistent. Tiendali now explaining what's expected of those around him, and de Guzman seems a little bit bemused at the moment, but Rangel seems to be going further forward.
Yeah, I think there's specific instructions for de Guzman in the middle of the park there. Juan Mata is threatening to see more and more the ball in those pockets of space that he tends to find.
Here's Ramirez. Now Oscar. One back by Davis. Nice flick from Hernandez. Key wins the free kick. Mata. Here's Cole. Hazard. Mata. Trying to drift it in towards Torres. Ramirez. Have to be careful there against Michu, who just caught him.
Michu doing his best to stop things at source. Well, just given Ramirez a dead leg there.
More applause for Frank Lampard, but so far Rafa Benitez showing no sign of bowing to what would be the popular decision and bringing him on.
It's like a farewell tour, isn't it, with Frank? Every game he plays now until the end of the season, he's going to get applauded to the skies.
Also got that Bobby Tambling goal-scoring record to aim for in what remains of his Chelsea career.
How does he need?
Well, he's on 193, the record is 202, so 10 to overtake it.
Possible. If he plays the games.
Luiz. Header clear by Williams. Michu. Now to Guzman. Tiendali. There's Rangel. Fernandes coming towards it, but Ramirez got there first. And here's Mata trying to unleash Eden Hazard. Rangel got back across, and the referee thought it was a perfectly fair challenge.
He made sure he got himself in the path of the Hazard run. The Belgian's touch was just what he wanted to get himself going. He was never going to beat him in a straight race, was he? You have to feel that's a foul. He's not playing the ball, he's playing the man.
Here's Cahill. Torres. Azpilicueta. He's claiming that touched the hand of Ben Davies, but again he's not finding a sympathetic ear. Not from the men who count anyway. Cahill again goes to the back post. Torres occupies a position in the 6-yard box under the watchful eye of Davies as the corner's flung in. Cleared only as far as Oscar. Azpilicueta loses out. Ramirez, not really a clean strike from him. And Ashley Cole covering against the possibility of a Michu break. And it's all been in one direction. And yet Swansea still lead here thanks to that first half Michu goal. Cole. Actually, at the moment, maybe the introduction of Demba Ba would be slightly more popular here than the introduction of Frank Lampard.
He's not warming up, is he, Demba Ba?
Davies pulls Hazard out of the way.
Trying to get himself around the front, the left back. And he did have hold of the winger. This is a nice angle to swing one in. Mata's left foot.
Three-quarters of the way through the first leg. Chelsea, despite all their pressure, still trailing to Michu's goal. Mata looking to counter an opening, but that's really disappointing from a player of his usual standard.
Yeah, it is. He got the height and the angle wrong of it, I thought. Maybe to swing it a little bit more towards that far post. Try and get bodies across the flank.
It's unlike Mata, who's been one of the better players in the Premier League this season.
That's been superb. So consistent as well.
Well, Swansea can ill afford for their goalkeeper to give it away as cheaply as that. Well, could Frank Lampard's introduction be imminent? Has a habit of coming up with the goods when they need him to, and they certainly need him to now. Here's Azpilicueta. Ramirez. Mata. Oscar's cross cut out by Pablo Hernandez. Mata. Here's Luiz. Azpilicueta pulls it back for Ramirez. Ivanovic moved on to Gary Cahill. Now Luiz. Again, the familiar pattern Plenty of Chelsea possession. Ball to the edge of the box, cleared by Williams.
Need better balls in than that, but they are defending the edge of the 18-yard area exceptionally well, Swansea. This is what the crowd wanted.
A much heralded introduction that certainly lifts the mood at Stamford Bridge. Ramirez the man to go off. And on the latest step of this farewell tour, can the man they call Super Frank deliver the goods again, as he has so often in the past? The man who came up with the goals that delivered their first Premier League title. He scored big goals on the domestic and the European stage. Can he aid Chelsea's hunt for a trophy here? Involved from the off. And Lampard looking to pick out a ball to Mata, but again met by Ashley Williams. Hazard, David Luiz, Lampard looking to turn, turns into Williams. Michu away. Azpilicueta wins it back, only for Williams to clear once more. And Michu claiming a push and getting the verdict.
Oh, I saw this little shove coming. Michu just make sure he gets his body in between man and ball. It's an easy free kick for Swansea. I'll take the time here. Second half, not too many times they've had the ball in this kind of area, but two centre-backs are up.
A sign of positive intent from Michael Laudrup, who sent Chico Flores and Ashley Williams forward for this free kick, which de Guzman will take. In towards Michu. Enough bodies there for Chelsea for now. Williams trying to get underneath it. Luiz away. Cleared by Azpilicueta. Loose off Hazard. Chico Flores. Hazard coming back at him, but conceding another free kick.
Nice little spell for Swansea. Bit of respite for the defence, or for the team as a whole. In defending.
Williams again makes the move forward. Flores is still up there anyway. Guzman takes, and I think Williams was surprised that it got as far as him.
He wanted to release it early, Turnbull, but nobody was up there.
Here's Lampard. Azpilicueta. Hazard looking to turn. Here's Mata. Torres with a flicked header. Comes to nothing. De Guzman. Offside flag up against Angel Rangel.
His initial run was a good one. He managed to stay on side. The ball didn't come.
Mata. David Luiz. Here's Cole. Luiz. Lampard. Ivanovic. Back from Hazard to Mata. And beyond the stretching Branislav Ivanovic.
Well, it's so tight, isn't there? So many bodies in there. I don't think Chelsea have used the flanks well enough tonight. When you are fighting against a team that's congested in the middle, that's defending the width of that 18-yard area, got to try and get down the sides. And Chelsea quite naturally go through the middle. If the full-backs aren't operating, they do sometimes struggle for width.
Queen's Park Rangers will be hoping that their win here was just the start of their revival as they take on Harry Redknapp's old team Tottenham live this Saturday, midday, Sky Sports 2 HD. 1-0 was enough for Queen's Park Rangers thanks to Sean Wright-Phillips here. Will Michu's goal be enough to earn Swansea a victory to take back to the Liberty Stadium for the second leg? The referee's given a free kick when Chelsea might have asked the question about whether there was an advantage. Swansea able to set themselves for the free kick as Oscar now looks for a way through, and Trammell looked a little uncertain with that.
Well, it was enough to do the job. It's a better ball from Oscar that time.
Etienne Darley won it well, and he's got it back here from Rangel. Here's de Guzman, Michu ahead of him, but this is Hernandez. Now Key. And he's offside, Michu.
A gap had opened up for Key that he was only too happy to fill. Easy call for the assistant.
Free kick not taken from the position indicated by Andy Halliday. Here's Mata. Chico Flores taking an unfortunate tumble. He's off the pitch anyway, so it won't affect the game.
Ashley Cole seemed to have a little nibble there. I think he's tripped him and caught his ankle. They are hard, those boardings, electronic boardings.
He's now back on, Chico Flores. And they need him out there. A big defensive job to be done here by Swansea City to see this through. Looked as though a draw would be a good result for them here, particularly the way the game started and has continued since. But they've made the most of their good fortune from Ivanovic's mistake to get the goal through Michu, and they are hanging on here. Crowd have seen Demba Ba running along the touchline, so maybe his introduction not too far away. Williams, here's Davis. He is going to come on. With Torres or instead of?
Well, he's a different sort of player. He gives them a different option, a welcome one.
Well, another mistake by a Chelsea player, David Luiz this time, playing a casual ball that Michu broke up. De Guzman. Luiz gets away with that one. Will Mata get away with that? Well, Britain felt he'd been eased out of the way then by Luiz, but Swansea have it anyway with Davis. Williams under pressure from Torres. Does deal with it. Here's Britain. Chico. Now de Guzman. Cahill. Azpilicueta. Ivanovic. Lampard. Cahill. Oscar. Pulled across by Azpilicueta.
How many times have we seen that? Final ball from the wide area hasn't been right, but you've got to admire the defensive resolve of this Swansea side. They've restricted Chelsea to much less efforts on goal than in the first half. He's been right in amongst it. Great organiser.
Here's Ivanovic. Hazard. So here comes the change, and it is instead of Fernando Torres that Demba Ba comes on for his home debut for Chelsea.
He's only got 10 minutes, but they can load it into the box a little more frequently now. He's got an extra bit of physical presence.
Not Torres' night, but after the two he scored on his last appearance for Newcastle, the two he scored in his first appearance. Oh, could be another chance here. No, he's offside. Rangel was the player. Ba got two on his last appearance for Newcastle against Arsenal, and two on his first appearance at Southampton for Chelsea.
He was unlucky, desperately unlucky, Rangel. It's a good ball from Michu.
Cole. Luis. Here's Ivanovic. And Lampard strikes.
That's what he's on for. It's been really difficult to get behind Swansea because they've been defending so stoutly and so deeply. There's no better shooter of the ball, striker of the ball from those kind of distances than Frank Lampard.
Tiendali did well to keep that in for Rangel, but in the end it was just too tight for Swansea to operate in that area, and Chelsea can build again. Hazard to Mata. Michu though robs him, looks to get away, and the idea was to set Michu away. Couple more changes being made. Marco Marin coming on for Oscar for Chelsea. And Swansea are also going to make a substitution, taking off their goal scorer Michu and bringing on Danny Graham, who has scored for Swansea in his last 3 games.
He has got through an awful lot of work up there. It's been on his own for the most part, but he was in just the right spot, and what a finish this is. Digs it out from under his feet, and didn't have much of the goal to aim at, but what a take.
He's become an instant hero, Michu. Danny Graham, who always works hard, apparently attracting plenty of interest with the transfer window open. The likes of Queen's Park Rangers, Reading, Sunderland all linked with him. To prize him away though if there's a cup final appearance on the horizon.
You certainly want to keep hold of him if you possibly can.
There's Lampard. There's Piliqueta. Lampard again. Ivanovic, casual. Lampard. Marin. Luis. Ivanovic. Here's Lampard. Luis lining one up.
Well, it's just frustration getting the better of him there. It's been that kind of second half, really. They had the chances first, the better chances first half, Chelsea. Tremors pulled off a couple of good staves after the break, but portion of those first half.
of the statistics except the most important one overwhelmingly in Chelsea's favour. Here's Lampard. Cole. Pushing the back of Hazard. Lampard was available for the quick free kick, but wasn't played in his direction. Here's Ivanovic. Looking for Demba Ba.
Well, that's what he gives you. That option to float one in. Not often Ashley Williams has been beaten in that manner this match, but Ba gets a run on the centre half.
All fouled. Rangel, though, suffering. And that will help to give Swansea a bit of breathing space. Chelsea have been on both ends of late equalisers in their last two matches against Swansea. He conceded one there in November to Pablo Hernandez, scored one at Swansea last January, a deflected effort in off Neil Taylor for an own goal. Is there to be late drama here and a third 1-1 draw in a row between these two sides? Marion with a cross, Bar's there with another header!
They haven't done this often enough when they have got the ball out wide. Got the ball into good areas. So often the first man has cleared it for Swansea, not that time. Second header in a matter of seconds for Demba Ba. Not easy, he's under pressure.
Ba did score a goal in his West Ham home debut against Liverpool. And he scored against Swansea already this season, late on what turned out to be just a consolation goal for Newcastle in their defeat. Here's Luis. Bar's had as many attempts in 6 minutes as Fernando Torres managed in 80. Off the hand of Aspilicueta, not seen if it was. Here's Ivanovic. Lampard. Cole's cross, cleared by Davis. Lampard looking to force it through, and Chico Flores clears the lines again for Swansea. But the pressure building all the time as Chelsea look to avoid a second consecutive 1-0 home defeat. Haven't been beaten in consecutive home games in 14 months, Chelsea. Pablo Hernandez getting it through, and misunderstanding maybe between Rangel and de Guzman.
That goes without saying, it'll be a tremendous result for Swansea if they do pull it off. But there is an awful lot of football to be played in this tie. Before the winners are decided.
Here's Azar. Header away by Hernandez. Aspilicueta.
Fans by us, we've seen enough filing out the ground. Scored so many goals over the last few weeks, but as you said, Rob, lost to QPR here and no goals so far here again.
They've scored 5 goals or more in 6 different games this season, Chelsea, and they might get one here. Bar could be in. They're ahead of the goalkeeper who caught him. Did he? No. The referee is going to book Denver Bar for a dive here. A yellow card on his home debut for Bar.
You've got to assume he had a good look at this, the ref. It's a mistake from Ben Davies. He certainly gets there first. There looked to be contact to me. This might give us a better idea. Well, don't really see where that booking comes from. He gets his toe there and he bumps into Tremmell. I thought he was going to point to the spot there, the ref. I really did. You could argue it's not a penalty. I don't think it is actually, but I don't think it's a booking either. I don't think it was a dive.
Oh, that's a bad back pass again from Ivanovic, and he's in here, Danny Graham! 2-0, and two really bad mistakes from Chelsea, who have been the architects of their own downfall here. Graham making the most of the mistake, Chelsea in despair, and Swansea taking a significant step here towards a Wembley final.
Well, who knows, that mistake might be the vital difference. Hangs his head in shame. It was a blind pass. He didn't look. He didn't know who was behind him. And it's an absolute gift for Swansea and a gift for Danny Graham, and giving them a vital two-goal lead. Will that be enough? Will that be enough? Chelsea thinking they got a penalty at the other end, and all of a sudden they're 2 goals down after a schoolboy error. He knows that's a big goal. Could be an extremely big goal.
Danny Graham scores for the 4th game in a row, and surely he won't be persuaded to leave South Wales in the transfer window now. Lampard helps it on. Bar! Offside! It won't count. The flag's up. Yet again, Chelsea in despair.
Well, he's been unlucky. He really has, but it's a fantastic take, you have to say, when Frank Lampard helped it on, and he's half an inch offside. He's desperately unlucky not to get the benefit there.
What an extraordinary finish to this match. Luiz has lost out to Key. Hernandez. Key under the watchful eye of Cesar Azpilicueta. Key.
Been an incredible match, hasn't it? Chelsea had so much of the play. They've ridden the luck, Swansea, but they have defended extremely well, as well, it has to be said at times here.
Well, the second leg coming up in Swansea in 2 weeks' time. Let's come back off Azpilicueta, who has to get it back to his goalkeeper hurriedly. Here's Hernandez. Swansea City have taken 2 giant strides towards a Wembley final after a couple of catastrophic errors from the Chelsea defender Branislav Ivanovic. Danny Graham buried the second in injury time to give Swansea 2 away goals. The first one scored by Michu, and a really healthy 2-0 lead to take it to the second leg of that semi-final. Chelsea will wonder how it's been happened. They will feel mugged by the side from South Wales because they had the majority of it. They might have had a penalty, they might even have had a goal, both through Denver Bar. He smiles now, but he must feel absolutely gutted that his cameo as a substitute didn't lead to one kind of breakthrough, at least for Chelsea. But it's Swansea who are bathed in smiles because their game plan has worked to perfection. They soaked up everything thrown at them, broke out twice. A goal for Michu, a goal for Graham, and would you believe it, Chelsea 0, Swansea 2.
Rob, Alan, thank you very much. Goodness me, what an end to another extraordinary Capital One Cup game. The Swansea fans, Chris, they're going to have quite a journey back down the M4 this evening, aren't they?
I'm not sure they'll go back down. They'll probably have the night in London, probably. They'll be up the King's Road tonight. Amazing, really, yeah. To be fair to Chelsea, I mean, they made loads of chances. They played better on the night, and Swansea rolled their luck. 2 great finishes, 2 huge mistakes, unfortunately, by Ivanovic. An incredible result.
We talked about the Barcelona-Chelsea game in the Champions League. It felt a little bit like that tonight, Dennis, but against Chelsea.
Yeah, I think it was, you know, at the end of the day. I think Chelsea played extremely well, had a lot of possession, created a lot of chances, you know. But, you know, at the end of the day, Swansea defended, you've got to give them credit. They defended fantastic as a team, you know, as a group of players. They've stuck at it, they've worked really hard for each other, and they've got a result. There's a fantastic result to take to their place, you know.
Certainly is. Sets them up for the second legs, doesn't it?